our exclusive world premiere of Madonna's brand new video, the song Like a Prayer.
I remember snatching the video and running into an edit bay.
Throughout history, music has reflected the times, often challenging societal norms and sparking intense debate. Some songs, once considered cultural staples, have found themselves banned or restricted from airplay due to shifting societal values, political climates, or concerns about their content. From Phil Collins' "In the Air Tonight" being pulled during times of war, to the controversial interpretations of songs like "Baby, It's Cold Outside," these tracks have sparked debates about freedom of expression and public sensitivities. This video delves into iconic tracks that face such unexpected bans. "In the Air Tonight" by Phil Collins. Phil Collins' iconic song, "In the Air Tonight," has been banned on two notable occasions, demonstrating the complex and evolving relationship between art, culture, and public sentiment. During the Gulf War in 1991, the BBC placed the track on a list of songs it deemed potentially insensitive. While the lyrics don't directly reference war, the haunting atmosphere and cryptic words were thought to resonate uncomfortably with the anxiety of the time. Even without explicit references, the song's dark tone led some to feel it was inappropriate during a period of heightened tension. Similarly, after the September 11th attacks in 2001, Clear Channel Communications, one of the largest radio networks in the U.S., temporarily banned "In the Air Tonight," along with 162 other songs. The company aimed to avoid broadcasting anything that might seem disrespectful or triggering in the wake of such a devastating national tragedy. These instances show how music, which can seem innocent or neutral, can take on different meanings depending on the social or political climate. A song that feels appropriate in one context can evoke discomfort or even controversy in another, revealing how sensitive and reactive the relationship between art and public mood can be. "Love Game" by Lady Gaga. Despite Lady Gaga's massive popularity, she hasn't entirely escaped censorship. Her 2009 song "Love Game" faced issues with some radio stations, which considered it too provocative due to its lyrics and performance style. Even her use of a disco stick during shows led to certain stations either refusing to play the song or airing edited versions. While artistic freedom is essential, concerns about the impact on younger audiences or offending certain groups often lead to calls for censorship. For example, another of Lady Gaga's songs, "Judas," was banned in Lebanon due to its perceived offense to Christian beliefs. "Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead" from The Wizard of Oz. Who would have thought that a lively, whimsical song like "Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead" from The Wizard of Oz could stir up controversy? Yet it did. When former UK Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher passed away in 2013, the song became unexpectedly linked to her death, revealing the complex relationship between art, society, and public perception. Margaret Thatcher was a polarizing figure in British politics. To some, she was a strong and transformative leader. To others, her social and economic policies were deeply divisive. After her death, "Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead" surged in popularity, reflecting the intensity of public opinion regarding her legacy. The song quickly climbed the UK charts, peaking at number 2. This posed a dilemma for the BBC, a major British broadcaster. Although the song makes no direct reference to Thatcher, its upbeat tone and the context surrounding it raised concerns about whether airing it would be seen as disrespectful. Ultimately, the BBC chose not to play the full song when it neared the top of the charts. This decision sparked a broader debate about freedom of expression and respect for the deceased. While some argued that art should be a legitimate outlet for expressing emotions even after the death of a controversial figure, others questioned whether it was appropriate to celebrate such an event at all. "BrownEyed Girl" by Van Morrison. Despite being a hit, Van Morrison's "BrownEyed Girl" faced some controversy when it was released in 1967. A particular line, "Making love in the green grass," was considered too suggestive for the time. Though the song is mostly about innocent, nostalgic themes, this line stirred up issues with certain radio stations. To avoid a ban, many stations chose to edit the song, replacing the problematic line with laughing and a running hey hey, borrowed from another part of the song. This allowed them to keep playing it without violating their content guidelines. Imagine by John Lennon. John Lennon, the legendary artist and former member of the Beatles, remains a controversial figure even decades after his death. Known for his outspoken political views, Lennon often used his music to challenge societal norms, which made him a frequent target of censorship. One of his most iconic songs, Imagine, exemplifies this tension. Released in 1971, the song envisions a utopian world without borders, possessions, or religion. The provocative line, "Imagine there's no heaven," drew particular ire from religious groups who saw it as an attack on their beliefs. Despite its message of peace, Imagine sparked controversy, reflecting how art can be seen as both inspiring and disruptive. The song faced further scrutiny during moments of national crisis. Both during the Gulf War in 1991 and after the September 11th attacks in 2001, Imagine was temporarily pulled from airplay. In times of war and mourning, its idealistic vision was perceived by some as insensitive or out of touch with the gravity of current events. Yet despite the backlash, Imagine became a global anthem, beloved for its hopeful message. Its enduring appeal speaks to the universal desire for peace, transcending the controversies it once provoked. While John Lennon is often credited as the sole creator of the song, he later acknowledged that his wife, Yoko Ono, had inspired much of its content through her peace-themed artwork, Louie by the King's Men. The Kingsmen's 1963 version of Louie has a surprisingly complex history of censorship and investigation, highlighting how different people can interpret art in wildly different ways. Despite seeming harmless, the song stirred up significant controversy. In the 1960s, some U.S. radio stations banned the song, believing the lyrics were too sexual. Even though the band intentionally mumbled the words to make them hard to understand, the concerns persisted. The situation escalated to the point where the FBI spent 31 months investigating the song, searching for hidden meanings in the lyrics, only to find nothing. Take the Power Back by Rage Against the Machine. Rage Against the Machine's powerful song, Take the Power Back, ran into controversy with education officials in Arizona in 2015, despite being released over 2 decades earlier. The issue arose because the song was considered to violate a state law that required schools to treat all students equally and avoid promoting one group over another. The problem began when high school teachers used the song in their Mexican-American history classes. The school's superintendent believed the lyrics could be interpreted as favoring one group of people over others. As a result, he instructed schools to stop using the song in the curriculum. This decision sparked concerns that students' right to express their opinions and learn about different perspectives was being restricted. For some students, the song's message of empowerment and resistance to injustice resonated deeply, raising important questions about what should be allowed in education. The Arizona law itself has been the subject of intense legal debate, with critics arguing that it may discourage open discussions in schools and limit students' ability to think critically about social and historical issues. Puff the Magic Dragon by Peter, Paul and Mary. Peter, Paul and Mary's classic song, Puff the Magic Dragon, might bring back nostalgic childhood memories for many, but it has also been the subject of unexpected controversy. While the songwriters have always said it's simply a story about the sadness of growing up and losing a childhood friend, it became entangled in a censorship debate in the 1970s. In 1973, then Vice President Spiro Agnew claimed the song promoted substance use, specifically the green stuff. He argued that phrases like puffing smoke from his pipe and living by the sea were references to substances. Despite songwriter Leonard Lipton's firm denial of these claims, the song was banned by several radio stations. This led to public backlash, with well-known musicians like Pete Seeger and Arlo Guthrie stepping up to defend the song's innocence. In the end, the censorship attempt didn't stick, and Puff the Magic Dragon continued to be loved by listeners, Like a Prayer by Madonna. Madonna's 1989 music video for Like a Prayer sparked a huge cultural uproar, igniting fierce criticism and widespread debate. Directed by Mary Lambert, the video combined religious imagery with themes of racism, poverty, and social injustice. One of the most controversial scenes shows Madonna embracing a black statue of a saint and dancing in front of burning crosses. Religious groups, including the American Family Association and the Vatican, condemned the video as blasphemous, interpreting these symbols as disrespectful to their faith. Additionally, the video's portrayal of an interracial relationship and its stance against racism added to the controversy. The backlash had major consequences. Pepsi, which had partnered with Madonna for a commercial featuring the song, pulled out of the deal due to the negative press. Even Pope John Paul II urged people to boycott her performances in Italy. Despite the uproar, the controversy didn't hurt Madonna's career. If anything, it made her even more of a provocative figure. Like a Prayer became a massive hit, and the video is now recognized as groundbreaking for its artistic expression and bold social message. I Can't Get No Satisfaction by the Rolling Stones. The Rolling Stones' classic song, I Can't Get No Satisfaction, has a fascinating history marked by censorship and the band's resistance to it. This song highlights the ongoing tension between artistic freedom and societal norms. When the band performed Satisfaction on the popular variety show Shindig in 1965, parts of their performance were censored. Network executives found the lyrics, particularly the line, "trying to make some girl," too suggestive for audiences, fearing it might offend viewers. This reflects how strict society was at the time about what was considered acceptable language and expression. However, by the time the Rolling Stones performed Satisfaction during the 2006 Super Bowl halftime show, no edits were made to the song. This shift shows how much attitudes had changed, with society becoming more open and accepting of artistic expression, even on major mainstream platforms like the Super Bowl. It's a clear example of how what was once seen as controversial can eventually become widely accepted. I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus by Jimmy Boyd. Although it seems like an innocent Christmas song, Jimmy Boyd's I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus has a surprisingly controversial past. The song about a boy who sees his parents kissing under the mistletoe faced backlash in 1952 when the Catholic Archdiocese in Boston found it inappropriate. They argued that it linked Christmas with something suggestive, undermining the holiday's religious significance. When the song was banned, 13-year-old Boyd tried to explain to church leaders that it was meant to be lighthearted and not disrespectful. Despite his efforts, the song was still pulled from the radio in Boston. Physical by Olivia Newton-John. Olivia Newton-John's 1981 hit Physical was a massive success, but it stirred up quite a bit of controversy at the same time. Many people found the song's lyrics too suggestive, especially with lines like, "There's nothing left to talk about unless it's horizontally," which some thought were overly sexual for the era. As a result, several radio stations either banned the song or edited the lyrics to tone down its meaning. This highlights how people can have very different views on what's considered offensive, making it hard for artists to know where the line is. The music video only added to the controversy. In it, Newton-John is seen working out with men who transform into muscular figures, and one scene shows two women holding hands, which some viewers interpreted as implying a lesbian relationship. This fueled the debate over the song's sexual undertones, with critics seeing both the song and video as pushing boundaries. The backlash against Physical raises questions about whether female artists face stricter scrutiny than their male counterparts when it comes to content. It also reflects how society's attitudes toward evolve over time, influencing how we interpret art. While Newton-John may not have intended for the song or video to be so provocative, it was people's reactions that made it controversial. Light My Fire by The Doors. The Doors' iconic song Light My Fire has always sparked some controversy. It's a great example of how censorship can be complicated and how people interpret art differently. In 1967, The Doors were banned from The Ed Sullivan Show for refusing to change the line, "Girl, we couldn't get much higher." The show's producers thought it referred to drugs, leading to a debate over whether artists should have the freedom to express themselves without limits. Years later, during the Persian Gulf War, the BBC also banned "Light My Fire," but this time it was due to the word fire. Even though the song was likely about passion, the war made some people worry that it could be misunderstood. These incidents highlight how the meaning of art can shift with the times, and what seems acceptable in one period might be controversial in another. Juicy by the Notorious Big. The Notorious B.I.G.'s 1997 hit Juicy was a major milestone in his career, showcasing his incredible lyrical talent and storytelling. However, after the September 11th attacks in 2001, the song stirred some controversy. One line in the song says, "Time to get paid, blow up like the World Trade." When Biggie wrote it, blow up meant sudden success, referring to the 1993 bombing of the World Trade Center. But after 9/11s, the line took on a much darker meaning. Radio stations faced a dilemma. The lyric had become unsettling after the tragedy. Out of respect for the victims and their families, many stations and streaming platforms began removing or censoring the line. Even though the original reference wasn't related to the 2001 attacks, the new context made it feel inappropriate. Lola by the Kinks. The Kinks' song Lola may sound upbeat, but it has a complicated history with censorship, revealing how art can be viewed in different ways and sometimes spark controversy. Initially, the song didn't face much backlash, but several radio stations later banned it because it tells the story of a young man meeting a transgender woman. This reflected society's discomfort with LGBTQ+ topics at the time and raised important questions about censorship and how LGBTQ+ people were portrayed in popular culture. In an unexpected twist, the BBC banned Lola for a completely unrelated reason. The lyrics included the line, "Where they drink champagne and it tastes just like Coca-Cola," and the BBC, which prohibits product endorsements, saw this as a violation of their rules. To comply, the band had to re-record the song, changing Coca-Cola to Cherry Cola to avoid the ban. "If You Seek Amy" by Britney Spears. The song's title and chorus caught some attention, with listeners thinking they heard something inappropriate. This made radio stations nervous about possible backlash, so they tried to fix the issue by releasing a clean version called "If You Seek Amy" radio edit. But even that didn't completely solve the problem. The Parents Television Council, or PRC for short, got involved, warning that they would file complaints if radio stations played the song during the day. In an interview with Rolling Stone, PTC President Tim Winter explained that the song wasn't actually about a girl named Amy, despite what some believed. However, he argued that the lyrics were still too suggestive and not suitable for kids. He felt the song crossed a line, especially for daytime radio when children might be listening. "Baby It's Cold Outside" by Frank. The song "Baby It's Cold Outside" has sparked a lot of debate recently. Some argue that the lyrics suggest it's okay to pressure someone into something they don't want to do, which has made the song controversial. In 2018, a Cleveland radio station stopped playing it, believing the song no longer fit with modern views on consent and respect. Canadian stations soon followed, saying it conflicted with their updated values. This controversy highlights the challenge of viewing older works through a modern lens. While the song may have been seen as harmless when it was written, movements like #MeToo have led people to interpret the lyrics differently today, seeing them as problematic. This raises a broader question. Should artists be held accountable for how their work is understood, even if they didn't intend any harm? Despite the controversy, "Baby It's Cold Outside" remains a popular song, with some artists releasing updated versions that modify the lyrics to address concerns. "The Real Slim Shady" by Eminem. Eminem's 2000 hit, "The Real Slim Shady," became a cultural phenomenon and stirred up plenty of controversy. The song, with its edgy lyrics, dark humor, and sharp social commentary, pushed the boundaries of what was considered acceptable for mainstream radio, especially with its jabs at celebrities and provocative themes. In 2001, a radio station in Colorado Springs faced fines from the Federal Communications Commission, FCCC, for playing a censored version of the song. Even though the explicit language had been removed, the FCC argued that the song's themes and suggestive content were still offensive. This case set a new precedent, showing that radio stations could be fined for broadcasting songs deemed indecent, even if they didn't include explicit language. It highlighted that context and implied meaning could be just as controversial as direct words. Eminem's lyrics could be interpreted as social commentary, satire, or simply artistic expression, but the FCC's decision sparked concerns about censorship and where the line should be drawn in creative content. With the threat of fines, many radio stations became hesitant to play Eminem's music, especially the uncensored versions, limiting its reach on public airwaves. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, comment, and turn on post notifications to stay updated with our latest content.